used to get this thing you call parallelism sleep. I think I started getting it when I was about age 14, and it's just when you go to sleep and you are still awake.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, but you go in a parallelism state and you're trying to wake yourself up basically, and it's quite freaky and scary.
Yeah.
And I went to the doctors I think when I was 16 because I was getting it a lot, you know, and he told me I've got parallelism sleep. You know, but it's gone away now.
Okay.
You know, I don't get it anymore. I think the last time I had it was about 8 years ago. And it's quite freaky, you know, you kind of wake up and you got to try to struggle yourself out of it, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I could be in it all night. And sometimes I go into sort of dream states and have nightmares.
Yeah.
And it's quite horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I don't get that anymore.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think my uncle got it as well.
Okay.
And I think my brother got it once.
Yeah, I did have it once as well.
Yeah,
well, once that I can remember anyway,
yeah.
if you see what I mean. It was freaky for sure, you know. Yeah.
You say your mind can play some really funny tricks on you.
Well, I think what it is they say obviously when you go to sleep, your body for a certain amount of hours, your body goes to the astral realm, what they call the astral realm. And it says before you wake up, your body your spirit returns to your body, so to speak. And they say that when you kind of astral project when you're asleep, if you see what I mean, then that can happen. You can experience like sleep paralysis, paralysis and all these type of things, you know. But I don't think it's always caused by astral projection, if you see what I mean. But they do say that if you astral project, like if you are wanting to do that practice, that type of thing, about trying to, you know, astral project in your sleep, then you can experience like sleep paralysis and things. That was the very first time it happened to me though. I must say it was very, very freaky. Like I couldn't move, like I felt like I was awake. Like I was wide awake, my eyes were open and I was wide awake. But I couldn't move, if you see what I mean. I couldn't move and I felt like something was like standing on my back.
Yeah, I had that.
It felt like something was standing on my back, like if you see what I mean. There was some kind of, I don't know, it was weird, like just. And I remember, I think I told you,
like... breathe, maybe.
Well, I could breathe, but it was like, I couldn't move my head, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, put it like that, I was unable to move, I couldn't talk, like, my eyes were wide open, and because I was sleeping, this is when I come back to England, this is many years ago, I'd come back to the UK on holiday with my mum to see my family and that. And I was on the floor sleeping on a mattress, and my mum was on the bed, if you see what I mean, on the other side. And I remember trying to scream out, like for help, like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like it was like some weird shit, and I'm trying to scream help, and nothing's coming out. If you see what I mean. But I know that I'm awake. I know I'm wide awake, and I can see everything. I can see everything in the room, even though it's dark. It's obviously, you know. And something's on my back, and I'm like, what the hell, you know. And I remember not even being like I was never a religious person or a really spiritual person. But I was a bit of a spiritual person, but I wasn't like how kind of where I am today spiritually. But I remember just praying. Like I remember that's the only thing I remember just like saying to myself, like I don't know what's going on, so I'm just gonna pray because like you know this is some weird shit. I remember just praying for like a few minutes, and then like not long after that, like I just felt better. Just like felt like you know like.
I think you only had it one time. I had it about 100 times, I think.
That's awful, mate. That's
over my lifetime. I'm glad I don't get it again. You know.
Yeah.
I sleep all right now. You know, I don't have any problems with my sleep.
I wonder if you outgrow it, or if it's something that like.
I really don't know what it is.
Like the medicine has helped with, you know.
It's something to Google, really. Actually,
yeah.
You know, something worth learning about, really. Yeah. I've not really Googled it, to be honest.
Because obviously, there are some people that do experience things when they're young. But when they get to a certain age, they kind of outgrow it, if you see what I mean. But I also wonder, like I said just now, I wonder if the medicine, you know.
I think what happened really was when I was about 14. I could go to sleep when I wanted. You know what I mean? And things like that. You know, I wasn't going to bed normal.
Yeah.
And I was staying awake because my mum bought me this TV.
Yeah.
And they put a little black and white TV. She She won or something at a competition.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was sort of like watching TV, I think, sort of, and staying awake until 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I think I started getting in regular sleep a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cause of it. But I might be wrong.
Having a bad sleep pattern.
Like, so I think sleep's very, very important. And like, people today, they get addicted to things and they stay awake and they deprive themselves from their own sleep.
Yeah.
I can remember doing it. When these Nintendo games come
Oh
out.
yeah, when you're a young teenager, mate,
I wasn't a teenager. I was about 27 when they come out. But I was playing these games.
Yeah.
They're new to me. And even at 27, you're still a kid in a kind of way. Especially when these new computer games come out. But I can remember being up until sort of, sometimes I'd stay awake all night.
Yeah.
Playing them.
Yeah.
And have no sleep.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to work next day, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, frazzled.
As I say, I feel like people today in this modern world, in the way it is, are being deprived from their sleep, in a big way, whether it's at work or some people do it to themselves, if you sort of mean, because at the end of the day you are in control. Oh, I better have a bath and go to bed, have something to eat, and then I'm not going to be tired tomorrow, go to bed early, be sensible about it. But even so, when you're sensible about it, you can come down with something like a toothache, or outside can keep you awake, if you sort of mean, disturb your sleep. Because as I say, I feel that we're living in a very noisy, disturbing world today. Where it's okay to make a noise, I think. People are allowed to make noise and get away with it, and that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Even I've got double glazing right now, and I could hear a car go past there.
Yeah.
And that was quite a quiet car, if you sort of mean. And I've got my windows shut. I need triple glazing to get the sound away, if you sort of mean.
Yeah.
So I just think like people, because they're depriving themselves from sleep, it affects them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why we're living in. A lot of people are not happy today. I mean, some people do get time to sleep, like myself, and maybe some of the older people a little bit, because they're retired.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have got a fit. Sort of they're living in, don't they?
Yeah.
Into their lives.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of their time up each week. Sleep takes a lot of time up, really, doesn't it? But then you got a bath each day.
Yeah.
So you got to do all these things each day. And I'm glad. To be honest, I'm glad that I don't work anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm out of it in a kind of way, and I can relax a bit like a cat. If you ask me, or a lion.
Yeah.
And enjoy life in a different way. So I have worked hard, and I know what it's like. I used to come home. Sometimes my ex-wife, she used to wake me up.
Yeah.
And I used to work nights.
Yeah.
And it used to, as I say, I used to get a bit unhappy. Anyone gets unhappy if they're disturbed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
During sleep.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you're living in the sticks and you don't get much traffic around you. But if you're living in the centre of things, it can get too much.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And it's making people ill, if you ask me. All these alarms going off.
Yeah.
People can't meditate even.
Yeah, people have very little time to.
Well, can you imagine if it was, if man didn't invent the mower?
Yeah.
What the world would be like today?
Yeah. If you think about it, mate, it's just like there's so many distractions in society, so many things out there that people get kind of like hooked by and kind of addicted to. Especially like today with like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these various different things that people use today in like forms of like
It's a new hobby, isn't it?
entertainment and
New
media.
hobbies.
There's people that spend like large amounts of the time of their day just online, if you see what I mean, like just scrolling and and whatever. So people are so distracted by just all forms of entertainment today, where there's just so much going on, and people find it a little bit overwhelming. Some people, and it's people.
Sometimes it's good to just get away from it, honestly.
Exactly, and I think sometimes that's what I'm just going to say. Actually, I was just going to say sometimes it's important to kind of like detox.
That's what I'm doing at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, from all that type of shit. Just take a little break. Unplug. Just step away for a week or two, and just come back to it. Or whatever. However long you kind of feel like you need. Like sometimes it's just one of those distractions that you don't always need. You can just you just uninstall the program for a week and then reinstall it and log back in. It's not rocket science. You can there are ways and means of kind of like eliminating distractions for your life for a few weeks. You can kind of like zone in and focus on whatever it is that you want to kind of like focus on, or so yeah.
So there is so many distractions out there, isn't there? It's untrue.
I'm just going to say, yeah, you've got to eliminate them, what I mean, in order to meditate, in order to have like peace of mind, in order to be able to like think for yourself, and just
I mean, it is important to meditate, but you can't really meditate and relax all the time, can you?
No, you've got to have a balance.
You've got to exercise as well.
Yeah.
Really, that's the opposite, isn't it? To meditation, working really, and exercising on your own body. But I feel like sleeping and meditation is just as important as exercise in your body.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. I mean, you can overdo it, like some people do. They can become fitness freaks, and they can sort of like do too much exercise. And apparently, if you're doing weight training, and you're doing exercise every day, pulling weights, you won't build up your muscles. They get weaker.
Okay.
If you do exercise every day, your muscles actually sort of need at least a couple days or 3 days break.
Yeah.
To sort of like
process.
Because otherwise you're not sort of. They don't build up apparently. You need to sort of like do it every other 2 days. Do you know what I mean? Not every day. You can overdo exercise.
Yeah, true.
You need to. Yeah. Sometimes I see these runners going around and they're really thin. And I think, goodness me, they got no. They got. Sometimes they kill themselves by doing it.
Kind of fading away.
I mean.
Yeah.
Some of these famous athletes die early.
It's true, yeah, they overexert themselves at a young age and kind of put too much strain and shit on their bodies for long periods of time, for years on end.
Some people take it too seriously, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to get a medal.
It's a fine line between. You've got to look after yourself too. So you've got to have some downtime as well, like a day or two a week, where, like you said, where you can kind of like process and just have a break, physically and mentally, So.
So I think it's important to have a good sleep, and then I think it's just important to relax all the time if you can. I do today. I've always been a bit laid back, even when I was at work, but you got to work hard, and you can relax whilst you're working hard.
Yeah.
You can be laid back.
Yeah.
I used to do removals, and it is quite a hard job. Going in people's houses. As I said, it's how I met you, wasn't it? I moved you in your house. And anyway, I meet people, move their furniture, then go home and go sleep again, whatever. And that was my life, it's a bit of exercise. And, but I think you can relax in the mind and work hard at the same time, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It took me a long time actually, because I did removals for 15 years, and when I first started doing it, a lot of my muscles weren't built for it, if you see what I mean, and I was very unexperienced at what I was doing, and it took me time.
Yeah.
It took, on the second year I was a little bit, knew what I was doing a little bit more, if you see what I mean. And my body
was used to it
a bit more, because everything, like even for instance a mattress, you use different muscles in your body, honestly. A mattress, depending on how heavy it is, and say there's two of you carrying it, you've got to use every muscle in your body, honestly. You know, especially if you've got to get upstairs, right? You know, you can feel your muscles the next day. Do you know what I mean? I mean, before I did removals, I worked in a place called the Bed Shop. You know, used to deliver beds.
Okay.
So I used to deliver beds sort of 3 or 4 times a day. You know, locally, mostly around. You know, so I do know a lot about beds. You know, and I kind of did that job first, and it kind of built me up to do the next job. You see what I mean? You know, but even removals, you carry in really awkward furniture, and each, you know, a little bit different.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was working with, say, my boss, and he was a lot older than me, and he was weaker sometimes, and it made me, because he was strong, it made it harder for me.
Okay.
You know, especially some of the heavy furniture. You know.
Yeah.
And you needed somebody that was strong to do it with you, you know. Otherwise,
you're gonna struggle.
And making your life, you're endangering your job.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, because this is break back and
you're having
break back and
back breaking.
Yeah, stuff. You know that I was doing. You
And
know, you didn't want to do it with, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, you end up with the lion's share, don't you?
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, then you're trying to carry his weight and yours, and it's not easy.
Well, I can remember doing that job, and sometimes it was really hard work, honestly. Sometimes, and I'd come home and I was like that on the bed,
Yeah.
and I'd meditate without helping it.
Yeah. I must say, when I was working in hotels, when I was really young, and I first started working in hotels, like, I remember working in this hotel, and it was hard graft, mate. Honestly, literally, same kind of thing. We move beds and shit every day, because sometimes like you'd have to help set up the room, because obviously people will be going into a room, they might need an extra bed here and there, or you know, different places throughout the hotel. And that wasn't the only thing you had to do. There was a lot of cleaning and other things involved too, and all sorts of shit, you know. But I remember I used to have a supervisor, mate. She would make sure you'd work from the minute that you start to the minute that you end. You know what I mean? She'll be there making sure you were grafting, if you see what I mean. Like, you know, and like you said, that can be backbreaking work, especially moving beds and mattresses and that type of shit. Like, there's just 2 of you, you know. I remember the very same thing. I remember getting home from work when I was young and shit, being like, bloody hell, like, you know, whacked out, you know. But you get used to it, you know. After a few days, you get used to it, and your body starts to, you know, kind of get accustomed to it, you know, and you kind of get used to the punishment almost, you know, and you feel less and less tired and less sore over time, if you see what I mean, from doing it, you know.
So I used to do lots of exercise until about 7 years ago, when the guy that I worked with retired, and I thought, well, I just don't feel like doing it anymore. Do you know what I mean? That kind of job and working hard. I don't want to lift another thing, funny enough. Do you know what I mean? And but I feel that I'm lacking exercise in a funny way now. Do you know what I mean? I need to maybe think about doing weight training again, you know, because there is, like I say, your balance, you know, where if you're, you know, just laying back, meditating, sleeping all day long, and relaxing, and not going for walks and not doing this and doing that, you'll end up probably looking quite unhappy after a while, I think.
Yeah, it's true. Exercise is a very important component, actually. They've recently, I can't remember where it was, one of these medical universities somewhere in America, I think, recently released a study that they've been conducting for a very long time in regards to exercise. And it was apparently, they actually scientifically proven that people that do get a certain amount of exercise a week, a few days a week, whether it be 3, 4, 5 days a week, they generally live longer than the people that don't exercise, if you see what I mean. So yeah, it was kind of like scientifically and statistically proven that, you know, people that exercise, even if they've got medical conditions, sometimes they even end up living longer than people that don't have medical conditions because they don't exercise, if you see what I mean. They don't get any, you know. So yeah, quite interesting.
I think the only exercise I really do now is walk.
Walk, yeah.
I go walking, you know, that's not any exercise, you know. I don't do any lifting anymore, like I used to. But, you know, I feel like I've worked 50 years of my, you know, 40 years of hard work, and I built my body up. You know, I even used to do weight training when I was younger. and I built my body up to be quite strong, you know, and it's strong today. It's strong today, even though I haven't done anything for 7 years, it's still pretty strong. You know, I wouldn't say it's strong.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've lost a little bit of muscle in the last 7 years, let's put it that way. But I feel like I'm a lot stronger than most men because of the work I did, if you see what I mean. I mean, some people just worked in sweet shops, if you see what I mean, and they have an easy job or work in an office, and they don't really lift anything apart from paper up, if you see what I mean. And all the hard work's done for them, you know.
Yeah.
Some people, if you see what I mean. I think, like, I mean, personally, I didn't really like working in the office, you know. I wanted to work hard.
Yeah.
It was a choice of mine, you know.
You enjoyed having like a physical job?
Well, as I think I said in a previous episode, I used to pay for my weight training.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to get a job that pays me for my weight, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I did, you know.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. You know, I kind of enjoy working hard. I think you've got to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, the guy that I used to work for, he liked me because I was a hard worker. I wanted to work.
Yeah.
I wanted to work hard.
Yeah.
Not for him, really. You know, yeah, a little bit maybe. For the customers too, make them happy.
Yeah.
But really mainly for myself, to build my own body up. And also get a bit of money for doing it at the same time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, not a bad job. You know, but a lot of people these days, they don't do a lot, do they? Really, you know, they wake up in the morning, jump in the car, go to the office, and they might be able to, you know, pick a job where they're on the phone all day or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Then they come home, get in the car, you know, and then they go to bed, you know, and it's just not doing anything, you know. I think you've got to choose to exercise sometimes in life, haven't you? You know, if you want to make your body strong, you got to, you got to do it. If you see what I mean.
It's a discipline. Yeah.
You got to say, right, you know, it's no good me doing this, sort of being lazy every day because I'm not, my body's not, you know, benefiting from it.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
The best advice that I would give anyone in regards to, and it comes to exercise and these type of things, is don't even think about it. Just do it. If you wake up in the morning, you start thinking, oh, I'll do it now, I won't do it now, I'll do it later. And if you are going to kind of try and get yourself into kind of like a routine, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert, I'm just speaking from my personal own experiences when I did used to, I haven't, you know, I do get quite a lot of exercise, but I don't do a lot of physical kind of lifting and like push-ups and stuff like I used to do, which I do need to start doing again, to be very honest. But when I did have a routine, what I used to say to people is, I don't even think about it. Like, my routine was I'd wake up in the morning, and at least 4 or 5 days a week, at least, I'm doing at least 200 push-ups a day. And don't get me wrong, I didn't start off doing 200. Like, I worked my way up. Like, I used to do like 50 at the beginning. Like, if you see what I mean, I do like 5 sets of 10 to start, and then I do that for like a week, and then I slowly work myself up. The second week in, I try to do 100 push-ups instead of 50. If you see what I mean. So instead of doing 10 a set, I do 20 a set. If you see what I mean, 5 sets of 20. And then I work my way up, if you see what I mean. And I just have like, I would do that consistently. I wouldn't wake up and think, oh, I'm going to do it later, or not today. You know, I wouldn't even allow myself to process those thoughts. I would literally just get up and just do it, because I knew that if I did do it that way, I might procrastinate and I might not end up doing it, or I might not stick to my schedule or my routine or what I'm trying to implement into my life. So that's that's the best advice I could give to someone, is just to, just to have a routine of where you don't even think about it, you just do it. You know what I mean? Don't even, as soon as you start to think about delaying it, just start there and then. As soon as any thoughts or any doubts start creeping in your mind, or any kind of like procrastination thoughts saying, oh, don't do it now, do it later, put it off, no, do it tomorrow, then just do it. Right in that moment, that's when you should start, because, it's about being it's about staying focused. It's like, it's easy to get distracted in this day and age. Like we've been saying pretty much right throughout this episode, it's so easy to get distracted, you know, from the important things and the things that you know, your growth as a person, the things that you need to implement into your life daily, you know, to grow as a person every single day. And if exercise is one of those things for you, then you need to, you know, you need to try and stick to it, you know. So, yeah. But yeah, we've all got different forms of meditation. Like even some people use exercise as a form of, like, I guess they, in a way, is meditation. You get some people that will literally put their music on and will exercise for an hour, literally in their own little. They won't talk to anyone. Literally, they'll just be in their own zone of like their music's on. They're just kind of in their rock. They're focused. You know what I mean? Razor sharp focus. Just doing their, you know, doing their cardio, doing their weightlifting, doing their whatever else. You know, and then they get up. You know, get up and, you know, change and leave. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's their own little form of, like, you know, escape.
I mean, music is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's a beautiful way to meditate sometimes, isn't it? Music.
That's true. Yeah. Music is a good escape. I think, music is not only. Well, it depends on what type of. That's the great thing about music, right? There's so many different forms. Music. That's why music is the biggest universal language, because there's so many different types of music out there. Music that will uplift you. Music that can make you feel sad and make you feel down and make you feel, you know, like you're relating to, you know, what that person's going through at that time. You know, because you might have experienced it yourself in life or had a very similar experience, or. So there's so many different genres and so many different types of music out there, so many different frequencies, and, you know, there's, you know, people that write songs about all sorts of stuff, you know, that is, you know, no matter kind of, you know, the vibe of it, you can kind of relate to it, you know. So
I mean, on YouTube you can go to these sort of meditation sort of music sites, can't you? And sort of like, it's.
I like to listen to the healing frequencies every now and again, because there are certain frequencies that you can actually listen to, if you see what I mean, which are like supposed to be like sound healing frequencies, if you see what I mean, that are good for healing your body and your mind, you know, different things, if you see what I mean. And I like, not very often, but once in a blue moon, I'll sit down and listen to like a few minutes of one of those, if you see what I mean. And and I tell you what, sometimes it does make you actually feel like you're really in a real meditative type of state, if you see what I mean. It kind of, if you see what I mean, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I love listening to music.
Yeah.
But sometimes I love complete
silence,
nothing. You know, don't want to hear another mouse.
Yeah, same.
You know.
Yeah.
Like so, as where I'm living, I do get a bit of an issue.
Yeah, of course.
That, you know, like I can't. I don't think I'll get 10 minutes go by without a car